think you might have answered this in a way already, but I'll try and make it brief. Given that it's the crisis that's happening and it might be coming in waves, have you already come across any evidence of institutions or governments implementing new ideas that point in a hame-b direction? I guess, in short, is it all just shenanigans, or are there any sort of optimistic signs yet?
Oh, this is nice. So check this out. I'll show you how I think it works. It's a bit tricky, but when you get sensitive to it, you'll see it. Let me see. All right. So imagine you ever played that game with a parachute when you're a kid? You all kind of get around and you hold it and you pull it taut and you're carrying things. All right. So imagine that, and imagine that's the institutional structures we're familiar with right now, and there's stuff, heavy stuff on the tarp, and people are trying to carry it. But then imagine that there's wait, maybe this is even better. No, I can't do that one yet. But there's a different place, like a totally different thing over here, over to the right, and nobody's picking it up and nobody's carrying it. And you've got a bunch of folks who are holding that and they're carrying it and they're lifting it and they're moving it along. That's game A, right? That's the world we live in. And that's the stuff on that tarp is the things that is our lives, right? The things that we're carrying. And every time somebody who's holding onto that tarp looks over and sees this other thing over here, and they kind of nudge the person next to him and kind of like, hey, that thing over there, that's the hame-b piece. And it's the awakening and the awareness of the reality of the embeddedness of people inside the environment who actually have the right capacity and competence. Now, this is happening a whole lot. Right? It's not obvious. Right? Shenanigans are the nature of the beast. The beast cannot but do shenanigans. But the beast at the end of the day isn't a thing, right? It's an emergent property of a whole lot of people collaborating and being willing to give their energy and intentionality to the maintenance of the beast. To the degree to which those individuals are beginning to be aware of the possibility and the necessity of no longer giving their energies to the beast and the reality of being able to give their energies somewhere else, that proliferation is like a hollowing out, an ossification. Have you ever seen the way a bone looks with the holes and the micro elements? It's these micro dissolution of the integrity of the coherent coordinating structure that gives rise to the emergent beast. And as the most talented individuals, right, the people who actually see hame-b first from the inside of these kinds of structures almost invariably are unique in some way. I don't mean necessarily unique in a good way, but they're unique in some way. They're sensitive. They can feel the possibility and they feel the pain of the beast and their complicity in the beast in a uniquely powerful way. And they try to figure out how do they continue to participate in what's happening to make it as good as possible. But as they continue to watch what's happening, they are starting to find each other. I can't name a lot of names here, but it's happening very rapidly. Truly competent, good people, skillful, smart, are beginning to just say, you know what, fuck it. This thing is not working. I need to just get on the phone and call the guy I went to college with who had his shit together and see what he's up to and see if I can collaborate with him. And then I'm going to figure out how to create permission to do it inside the thing that I'm doing, which is the way that it always works best anyhow. If you've ever been inside some shitty corporate environment, you always know the only things that ever happen when people actually create capacity peer-to-peer inside the environment. Well, in this case, what's doing is happening super rapidly and across the entire system. And we actually have a whole lot of people who are incredibly capable and have learned a lot of skills about things like counterinsurgency and intelligence. You know, it's a different ballgame in the 1950s. So that, I think, is the way to think about it. And what we have to do is we have to become increasingly conscious and mindful of how to, because remember, we don't want to drop the ball on this thing. Unfortunately, that tarp that I was talking about, the thing it's holding, that's our lives. And if we let go of it, our lives fall with it. And that gets really bad really fast. So we have to actually find a way to kind of like get the music to slow down and then have the capable hands, the truly capable hands, increasingly steer what's happening inside, like it's a fabric that lifts up and weaves itself underneath. And so people are actually held in something that's real. And then we begin to move over to this new attractor as people kind of point at it. So yes, I am seeing some things happening inside what we would call existing institutions. It's largely correlates with the degree to which those constructs are made up of people who are close to reality. Can I feed one more piece of theory in here? I was talking about it with somebody just today, and I think it's actually very useful. I was asking the question of why it is that Derrida went wrong. Because I got to tell you, Derrida went wrong. And the reason why it went wrong, I'm pretty sure, is because when the pipes burst in his apartment, he did not fix those pipes himself. In fact, in all likelihood, he didn't even call the plumber. He had to talk to the supervisor. Supervisor called the plumber fixed the pipes, which is to say that Derrida was a first-person experience of Baudrillard simulation. The farther you are away from reality, the more likely it is that you will find yourself playing in simulation space, which means you're going to lose the thread. You're going to have to play games by capital in social signaling, manipulating or getting other people to do the stuff you want them to do, instead of having to actually be directly bound to reality. So the people in institutions who happen to be directly bound to reality, they're the ones who are actually starting to have to figure things out. The people who are the furthest away from reality, the ones who are the deepest in the simulation, they're the ones who are actually very confused and or dangerous. And so we have to figure out a way to decouple their capacity to make choices and or rapidly upgrade their sense making if they happen to be amenable to it. So that's a long-winded way of trying to answer your question. Apologies if it wasn't very tight.
Thank you.